underground bunker range kind of thing. And then they had this shooting table that had this like computer on it, which would like, you know, show where you hit and like ballistics and all this stuff. And then you press a button and then the table like shifts over and then you can like walk down the range. It looked like something out of like a Mission Impossible movie or something. Sure. It was so cool.
It's the ultimate man cave.
Oh yeah.
Like ultimate man
ultimate.
Cave. A literal armory. It was super cool.
Welcome to the SCHEELS Outdoors podcast, your source for information on hunting, fishing, and all of your outdoor passions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the SCHEELS Outdoors podcast. Mike Anderson here, along with my co-hosts Solomon Bach.
Howdy.
And Ashley Sorensen.
It's now Ashley Blank.
Ashley Blank, shoot. Oh, man, yes, Ashley just got married. So congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I was thinking about that. It's okay. My name tag still has my old last name.
You were planning that in.
Yeah.
You were.
I was like, I'm just going to let him. I'm going to let him roll with it.
I'm just going to set him right up for this one to fail.
So then we can just talk about Ashley's wedding.
Yeah,
is that this podcast?
Exactly.
No.
Right.
No. That is
not.
Unfortunately, I mean, you can write a question in the comments and we can talk about it there.
Yeah, I'm sure no one has a question.
We're going to talk about something a little bit different.
Quite a bit different. Very interesting.
Yes,
absolutely. You two got to experience together.
We did, along with many other people.
Right.
But,
yes.
You know, we were there together.
We were present.
So Leupold has this grad school.
Yes.
Okay. So that's what we will be talking about today. Your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Let's do it.
All right. So what is Leupold grad school?
I'll take this one.
You got it.
Okay.
All right.
You got it. So
I would assume if you're listening to this podcast, you know what Leupold is, the optic company. They put on a graduate program for SCHEELS employees. So basically, we have other training events called university trainings that involves like a variety of different vendors, usually specialize in something like hunting or archery or fishing or ice fishing, or, if you like the clothing and all that fancy stuff, they'll do like fashion, but we're not going to talk about that here.
The SCHEELS Fashion Podcast.
Yeah.
Ooh,
so stay tuned for that.
Hunting clothing, though.
Right.
Yes, there
That's
is one
fashion.
for hunting clothing. So it's our kind of fashion.
Yeah.
Technical, yeah.
Yes. But anyway, so this is like a little bit more specialized and technical and just for Leupold. So taking some of our experts from our stores that are, either have been there for a decent amount of time or like really ingrained in selling those specific brands, those types of equipment, and just really dive into the brand, what they're all about, what they have to offer, things like that. So yeah, Leupold was in Oregon. So first time I'd ever been there, which was a bit of an eye-opening experience. Super fun though.
Very green.
Very green, yeah.
But then you drive 3 hours and it's not green.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw some brown in photos too that you guys were taking.
Yeah, for sure.
So they have a facility.
The factory's in Beaverton, right?
Beaverton, which is, a suburb of Portland.
And then about 3 hours from there.
They've got a range in, is it Madras? How do you say
Madras? Something.
Oregon
I don't know for sure. Yeah. Madras.
Yeah.
I know that. So, but yeah, it was cool because just like seeing all the different types of scenery out there was pretty wild, because you fly into Portland and it was, into their rainy season. So everything was super green and lush and there was like vines everywhere. It almost looked like jungle-esque. And then you'd drive to where their range is. And in between Madras and Beaverton you drove through Mount Hood. So that was like ski resort, all evergreen forest. So you go from like the jungle to like mountainous evergreen forests, and then you go another hour and a half and it's like high desert.
Wow.
So, I mean, I was on the lookout for mule deer like literally every time I turned my head because it was like, oh, this looks like mule deer country.
Mike was hanging out the window.
Oh yeah, head out the window, tongue going. I look like a freaking dog or something. But yeah, and then we didn't go any farther than that. But if you drive another hour, then you hit the coast and the ocean. So you get like the whole gamut of geography in like a 3-hour drive. So pretty wild.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And the temperature swing was wild too, because Portland, like, it was like, what, 70s-ish maybe when we got there? 80s maybe?
Yeah, it would go between like 60 when you woke up to like low 70s.
Yeah.
So very comfortable.
Nice.
But it was rainy, except for when I filmed the introduction, and like the sun was just blasting my face. But yeah, it was nice. Anyways.
It was a good week.
So then on their range, you're able to like, is there like a classroom day you have, or, how does this work?
The first part of what we did there was at the factory. We kind of took a tour of the factory, and there was about probably 30 of SCHEELS associates total, including us maybe.
Yeah, right around 30.
Somewhere around there. And they were nice enough to just kind of let us through their factory, take a peek at kind of the behind the scenes of how their stuff is made, what they put into it, all the work and actual hands-on stuff that they have there behind the scenes in the factory. They actually have a sweet range in their factory that Mike took a video of.
Oh, it was so cool. I don't know if it's gonna be out on the social media page when this goes out, but if you don't listen to this right away, it likely will be out there.
Yeah.
But anyways, they have this like armory that had a whole bunch of lockers with
Literal
just
armory.
guns, and they had probably like, I mean, $500,000 worth of guns sitting in these lockers.
Hundreds.
Yeah. It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
And then you'd like go into this room and they'd have all kinds of, like gun accessories, cleaning stuff, just, random gun range stuff on the walls. And then you turn and then there's this lane that's like lighted up and
This lane.
yeah, like soundproof, whatever. It was, what was it? 100 yards?
Yeah, it was 100 yards, all underground.
Yeah,
indoor.
100 yard underground bunker range kind of thing. And then they had this shooting table that had this like computer on it, which would like, show where you hit and like ballistics and all this stuff. And then you press a button and then the table like shifts over and then you can like walk down the range. It looked like something out of like a Mission Impossible movie or something. Sure. It was so cool.
It's the ultimate man cave.
Oh yeah.
Like ultimate man
Ultimate.
cave. A literal armory. It was super cool. Yeah, after the factory tour, what did we do after that? That was basically the drive to Madras after that.
Yeah. Let's back up just a little bit. I want to talk a little more about this factory tour though. So what's really cool about Leupold is that their rifle scopes are made in the USA. Like everything is right there in Beaverton, Oregon. And just seeing how that facility worked was super cool. I mean, there was a lot of like American flags and just like sayings on the walls, and then there was a trophy wall that just had random pictures of all the people that worked there and their trophies, and just how tight of a ship they operated there and how clean everything was like pretty wild. Because I mean, I have a 3-stall garage and it is so messy compared to this facility that like hundreds of people are working in. It's just like everything is just, they got their ducks in a row there, man. And like a lot of
our expectations at SCHEELS though too, probably is in line with that very much
absolutely.
The Leupold and SCHEELS like culture kind of goes hand in hand. Like very similar values and things like that.
Yeah, and it was cool to hear about how long all the people had been there. Like there were some people that worked on, assembly line stuff that had been there for 25 to 30 years. Just hanging out, just pumping out scopes. It was pretty cool to see. There was some stuff that we could show that I'm actually working on a YouTube video on it right now to kind of show what's going on there. And there's some stuff that we can't show. So, sorry.
Some top secret stuff, huh?
Yep, super secret stuff.
Now, does SCHEELS get to be a part of this? Is it every year?
Yeah, they do host it every year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. There'll be different associates that go.
Right.
But, they host it every year.
Which, again, gives like all of our experts this firsthand knowledge and experience and the skills to help our customers.
Yeah, it just translates to the customers super easily.
Exactly. And the people that train can take it back to their stores and then
they teach everyone else.
Do product knowledge meetings and basically show them everything that they learned.
Yeah.
It's one thing to get the information from an email or a post or a website, but then when you're actually there on the range, looking through the binos or the scopes when it's low light, those last 15 minutes, being able to take that firsthand experience and try to show that to the rest of your associates at the store and bring that to a customer is mind-blowing compared to just reading something. Oh, it does better the last 15 minutes of light or something like that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. That range experience was so cool.
It was nuts.
Oh my gosh, just like you
Let's go
can probably hear like my voice get a little bit higher. Like, I'm up an octave.
Yeah.
This is so cool. Yeah, but it was an incredible experience for sure. We learned a lot. Like, our job was to film the experience, but we, we're immersed in the whole thing. So we got to kind of basically go through the training anyways, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. So factory tour, amazing. Then you make the trek to the range.
Which was amazing in itself.
Amazing. Just the trek. Okay.
Yeah. Then, the range was basically, Leupold's got this, I wouldn't even call it a facility, but it's just a big chunk of land basically that they have what they call the schoolhouse set up on one of the top hills. And that's where they have kind of like their product trainings at the range. That's where they have their indoor stuff, a couple little classrooms and their armory at the range basically. But then they have a couple different sections like long range hunting, long range tactical, right? Was it tactical?
Yep.
Yeah. And then like some AR stuff, some handgun stuff. Like they just had like a section for everything, and it was like
on the land.
Yes. On the
okay.
land. Yeah.
Yep.
And it was so in the factory they had the ultimate man cave. This is the ultimate man's backyard. It
was
like wild.
The ultimate man's plot o' land.
Every direction you look, there
Plot
was like
o' land.
steel targets of like bobcats and deer, and just like every direction you look, there's something to look at and shoot.
I mean, if you were to throw out a number, how many targets do you think were out there?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's got to be more than 300.
Yeah, 300 was the number that came to mind for me too. Everywhere from, your pistol stuff, which was at 20 yards to 1 mile.
Okay, so you'd go to that pistol area and there'd be targets set up and you'd have different types of optics then there to test out.
Yeah, on the pistol one, we did a lot of the red dot stuff, stuff that you would put on pistols.
Yep.
Once again, it's just one of those things to get that product in the hands of an associate rather than just like in the box in the hands of an associate in the store,
Yeah.
Being able to like actually use it on a gun, shoot it, see how it feels, see how it reacts and things like that. And you get to do that for everything, all the scopes, all the optics and everything like that. But yeah, the handgun stuff was really cool too.
So did you come away with like favorite scopes then?
They're all good, man. I have a favorite, but I'll let Mike go first.
My favorite was the Mark V to begin with.
Okay.
And then it just kind of reaffirmed that. But
And what is the Mark V?
That's
For someone like myself that doesn't know.
That is one of their higher end scopes.
Okay.
So one of the more like long range hunting or
okay.
long range tactical ones. But they're what's their price point one again?
The Freedom.
Freedom. Yeah, the VX Freedom blew me away.
Yeah.
Like for $300.
Absolutely.
There's so much like
wild.
we were hitting targets at like what was it, 600 and 700 yards.
I think some people got to 1,000 with those.
Yeah, with a $300 scope. Ridiculous. And it really goes to show like if you're shooting the right gun and the right bullets and do your math on like how that performs and being able to put like the right dial to it, like it really takes all of the
guesswork out of
error
it. Yeah.
and the guesswork out of it, and you can just focus on your breathing and squeezing the trigger.
Well, it just shows that like when you buy something from Leupold, it's not like just because it's a lower price point doesn't mean it's a lower quality. They don't sacrifice quality. There might be features that they're not in there, but the quality, no matter how far up or down their product line is always going to be there.
Quality.
It was wild. Yeah, my favorite, shout out to Matt Prink because this is his favorite too, but is the VX5 Fire Dot. I'm a big hunter, so I like the easy CDS dial system where you can literally just, you get your kind of yardage like Mike was talking about, send Leupold your information for your gun, your bullet, and all that stuff, and they'll send you a dial that you can put on the top of that scope, and instead of like the hash marks for mils or MOA, it's just yardage. So if you're if you range a
So
deer.
it's kind of a cheat system.
Yeah, it's like just having your dope chart on your scope
I was
already.
reading and I'm like, there's a lot of math involved, it seems like.
Yeah.
This simplifies it for
And
those
that
of us that hate
and that's
math.
really the reticle. It's the CDS system.
Okay.
And you can have that on like most of their product line. And I tell you what, like for long range shooting, it just makes it stupid simple. Like you figure out what gun, what bullets you're shooting, and then you just send them that information, and then they send you a reticle back, or send you the dial back.
Yep.
And yeah, it's
So that's
just,
not something you get in store at all, really. That you just work straight with them.
When you buy, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when you buy a Leupold scope that has the capability of that, you get one free, I think. You get a CDS dial free when you buy it.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we did a drill for the CDS stuff, the CDS dial, where everybody was laying prone with the guns down on the shooting mat, all facing the same direction. And there's targets out to, a mile basically. But the range captain behind us, Colby, he would say, Bobcat, 400 yards. And then everybody have to get down, get behind their gun properly, dial for the 400 yards, which in this case was pretty easy because you just dial it to where it says 4. Point, shoot, and impact, and then you get back up. And it was kind of a speed drill, but also just showing how fast you can find the target, dial for it, and hit. Like it was so, like way faster than just having to like range it, dope it, figure it out, and then actually dial for it. It was, it's crazy.
way better than the paper dope chart you got on your gun stock.
Yeah.
Like it's something else.
That was a fun drill.
Yeah, absolutely. You asked what the favorite product was. And I had scopes in my head because we were talking about scopes, but my favorite product from Leupold is actually their new RX 5000 rangefinder, which is wicked cool. Basically, like it's Bluetooth enabled. So basically it links up to OnX, the hunting app. And basically, so you pair the thing, which is super easy. Like,
And this is on your phone or on, okay.
Yeah. So you got the rangefinder.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
You got your phone.
OnX. Yeah.
You pair them together. And then when you range something, it will send that pin to OnX and it will show exactly where it's at. I mean, you had your yardage before, but it'll show the yardage on OnX. But what's super cool about that is you can like plan your stocks out, because a lot of times, say I'm hunting in the Badlands, I range something and I got this big muley buck at 1,000 yards. It's like, okay, I can see him. I know which way the wind is going, but like there's so many nooks and crannies and little ridges that you don't know about. So you can see that on OnX and you can plan your stock out. So, and then you always know like where it's at. Cause I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times like I'll start a stock and I'll get like 500 yards of the 1,000 yards in, and it looks very different than when I started.
And you think you're right
it's
there.
like, oh God, maybe I'm right there, maybe I'm not.
Yep.
Like it's always good to have a reference point, like the nearest tree or something like that. And you can get away with that in most situations. But, just to be able to know like exactly where that animal is and exactly how far you have to go, exactly what's in between you is incredibly valuable.
Right.
And then, another useful asset to it is recovery. Like say you're elk hunting and you shoot something across a ridge and then, it's that last light. Okay, it's getting dark. By the time you get down the ridge and back up to the other side, like it's pitch black and it's like, I think he's here. I don't know for sure, but you drop that pin on the animal when he's down, you just walk right to the pin. You just take all of the error out. Right. Which is incredibly valuable.
Yeah, and same thing with even whitetail hunting too in a stand. I mean, you shoot something at last light and you see it run away and you're out of time, basically out of light, range to the last spot you saw it, and you got a pin for the next morning when you gotta go in and look.
Yeah, and then finding blood trails and stuff like that too. Yep. Super, super valuable.
They got a range of products that would be mighty fine sitting in my garage in my house.
Yeah, absolutely. And that RX 5000, like I ranged a side hill at like 4,500 yards or something like that.
There's endless opportunities for that. It's like the ultimate rangefinder.
This is wild.
Yeah.
So is that one of the highlights then? Like being able to range that far or?
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't a high point of the trip.
Okay.
I mean, high point of the trip was probably me hitting a target at 1,100 yards.
Okay.
Because the farthest I'd ever shot was like 400, 450.
Wow.
And just getting down, getting behind a gun and hitting that
Almost
target.
3 times as much.
Yeah, exactly. And they had like their longer range stuff. They usually had like little lights on the side that would show if it hit or not. And this one had a green light on the side. And I remember squeezing that trigger and looking through and then waiting that like 1 or 2 seconds. Because, I mean, it takes a little while for a bullet to travel that far. And then seeing that little green light up.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I did it. Not too bad for a marketing guy.
Yeah,
Still got it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
How about you, Solomon?
I was going to say, did you, on the last day we got to shoot, well, it wasn't quite, I think it was a mile. It was like 1770 or something like that for yardage. But did you shoot that too?
We can call it a mile-ish.
Yeah,
and
mile-ish.
yes, I did shoot it, and I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, well, that's what we need to know if we hit it. I will say it took me, well, 2
It's
tries
okay.
to
You're
hit it,
still a
but-
marketing guy.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just
Not bad
kidding.
for marketing.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. If I had one more try, I would have got it
Right.
for sure. No, but like it was windy when that was
Yeah, well,
happening.
that was what
so
I was
we
gonna
were.
say.
Oh, how far were we over? Like,
That was one of the biggest takeaways for me is I'd never I'd only shot to like I think 800 or 900 in my life, so everything past that was crazy to me. But the holdover for the wind and stuff, I'd never had to do that. Like I've dialed a little bit for the wind in the longer shots that I've done, just target shooting. But like to physically hold your crosshairs like way too far.
Yeah.
So I'm
left
thinking
to
of
the
like
right.
golf, like when you're golfing and it's really windy. Is
Yeah,
it?
I mean, same
it's,
idea.
You're okay.
Except for
Yeah,
just like
similar
Figuring
10
out
times
concept.
farther.
how the wind. Wow.
yeah, you know, like you got your scope, and then you've got like all those little tick marks to the side. Well, usually, like before in any situation, I've never had to hold more than like 2 of those little tick marks. But like when we were doing the mile one, I was holding at like 4.5 MOA.
Like you can
so
barely
that's
see the
like
target in your
there's
scope.
like 5 tick marks,
Oh.
and then there's like a bigger one, and that's 1 MOA. And then so I had to hold like 4.5 of them over.
Wow.
So it was like that bullet's traveling a
doesn't
long
seem- yeah.
ways
Just-
sideways,
Right.
and that's not even factoring in the up and down. So
Sure.
I mean that's already dialed. So you just have to adjust for your wind.
Okay. So they taught you all of this. Through
And
your,
some of the associates, like Mike was saying, like come in with a good bit of knowledge of long range shooting in general,
And it's their
more of-
passion.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
So-
more of like a product focused, like hands on stuff. But some people, like I mean me specifically, and I'm sure a bunch of other people too, like haven't shot a lot of long range, so like everything was just pretty eye opening, especially being able to actually hold the camera and capture it that way, but then also to get to do it sometimes. That was
Yeah,
pretty
for
sick.
sure. Because like I spent a majority of the time, filming stuff, but then it's like, okay, we got a sufficient amount of things filmed.
it's my turn.
It's my turn to hop behind the gun now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's 6 different sessions
Okay.
that we did on the rifle range portion of it. We had long range tactical, long range hunting, carbine or AR shooting, pistol, observation, which was your binoculars and your spotting scopes and your range
Which you got some
finders.
here today.
Which you got
Can you
one
see if the
hanging
light
out-
is still
hanging
on
out
over
right
there? Are we good?
Our camera's 7.5 yards away, in case anybody needed to know that.
Perfect. And then the last one was mounting and accessories.
Okay.
So yeah, so we figured out how to mount a scope, how to do it properly, how to do it most efficiently with the Leupold system, and then some of the cool accessories that they have now. Their cases are pretty dang sweet. Their rifle one is especially cool. It's a soft-sided one that perfectly fits into like a Pelican case. So what you can do is, if you're going on, say you're going to Africa or you're flying in a plane to go somewhere, like you put it in your Pelican case so it's covered and, like locked down and all that stuff. And then when you're ready to hunt, you pull your other case out of your Pelican case, and then you can just have that soft-sided case to do your hunting with. And then when you're done, you put it back in the hard case, and then you're done. So that was pretty cool. Observation, we talked about that RX 5000, went through their, spotting scopes and whatnot.
The ARs.
Yeah, that one
was
was
super
wild. I have never seen so much brass flung in a couple of days.
Yeah.
It was,
Did you guys have like ear protection on the whole time too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But like every,
You're supposed to say what?
yeah, what? My ears are shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we broke into 6 different groups. Each section, had a group, and then we'd rotate and whatnot. Each time a section would like shift, they would, clean up all the brass. And there was like more than a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, pails.
Wow.
Every section.
Pails full.
It was just wild. So
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah. So what was like the biggest, I guess, takeaway, or kind of talked about some of the favorite things already, but
My takeaway was like the quality, because like going back to the VX Freedom thing, for $300 to $400, or what is it, $250 to $400, I think is what all the price range for everything in the VX Freedom line maybe, but like everything in that line was wildly impressive for the price.
Yeah, it's especially so we did low light testing. So the first day we got there in the afternoon, and we, we did some classroom stuff at the hotel we were staying at. And then we went out to this range as the sun was setting, and then we got to see like how Leupold stacked up to other brands too. So there was they had all kinds of different, they had basically all the well-known optics companies had like one out there. And then so you get to see like how you could see at those precious last moments of light. And yeah, that,
Well, it speaks volumes to Leupold as a company being willing to put their product up against literally every other impressive scope manufacturer. Like to put them side by side in every situation and having the confidence that theirs is going to perform.
Yeah.
That's cool.
and I'm not going to like downgrade any other vendors, because like each one of them had their own like
strength.
really good strengths and stuff like that. But Leupold definitely shined in the low light situations, and especially like the morning too, when the glare was really present, like that, the sun peaks up for that first time. There's a lot of glare out there, and if you're looking like close to into it, that can really wreak havoc on a lot of your optics. And there were some that just like they were spotty and just so much glare, like I cannot see anything there. And then you go to that $300 VX Freedom, and it's like, oh, I can shoot right now.
Oh,
this is
yeah.
wild.
There it is.
Yeah.
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 Interesting.
So,
Yeah.
That's the difference between not seeing a target animal when you can shoot it and seeing it and being able to come home with something.
yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're dropping like 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand for a hunt, you got to
Or
take
just a tag
advantage
that
of,
you have to take a year or two to draw.
or your $30 tag,
Anything.
but just like to be able to have that peace of mind to know that your equipment is going to perform when you need it to is just one less thing to worry about. Is super cool.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I wonder, and all the equipment, or optics then is made there.
Yeah, all of their.
I mean,
all
so
of
yeah,
their
they must
rifle
have
scopes.
some new technology or whatever developed to get that clarity in there.
They've just got whatever system they've got and it works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's quality glass all the way up and down their line.
Yeah.
and it's not just their glass too. It's
Right.
their housings and a lot of technical stuff. I'm not one to like talk about every aspect of it, because
No.
I just don't know enough
Right.
about the
We can hit
product.
the highlights.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just a highlight
And-
reel
yeah.
kind of guy here.
Well, you get into the weeds a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have to get into the weeds on all the technical aspects of it. But yeah, anything else you guys want to cover?
I really enjoy just like learning about safety and form and procedures in the all of the different sections too, especially the carbines. Like
Right.
I've shot AR, but I haven't shot a ton of it, and just like going through all of that was really cool, especially some of the exercises we did. Like one of my favorites was,
I hope this is the same one I'm thinking of.
yeah, we'd start with a clip, like a full clip, and then another one in our pocket, and we'd start at like 30 yards or whatever, and we'd start like walking at the target, and you'd go through the first, like most of the first clip, and then you'd like rotate your guns, and then you were going from your optic on the top to like a red dot on the 45-degree angle when you tilted your gun, and you're just like you're just
ripping
flinging
rounds.
lead, just stuff flying everywhere. We've got some video of that in slow motion, and it's pretty much the coolest
It is.
footage
I'm sure that is.
I've
yeah.
ever seen. It's just like
You could see him flying.
America.
Chink, chink,
Yeah.
chink. Yeah.
So fun. Yeah, and then we did other stuff too, where like there was a stand where you'd shoot at the top, and then you'd shoot through like a 45-degree angle window, and then you'd shoot at a 45-degree angle window the other way, and then you'd shoot lower like 90 degrees, so like
Horizontal almost.
yeah, horizontal, and then or like parallel to the ground, like your gun is like usually you shoot with your gun up, but then you'd have to like tilt it sideways and shoot a target, and then you'd have to shoot it like almost on the ground too, and figuring out like your posture and how to do it as quickly and efficiently as possible.
I've got something on that. So that was hard for me because I'm a tall guy, and we had to get like way down
Yeah.
low. And not just that, but like I'm an archery nerd, so like I'm good at lining up peep sights with the sight housing on a bowstring, right?
Yeah.
But like on a gun, you can either see through the scope or you can't, is what I thought. But there is a big difference in like if you're looking through the scope like straight looking directly at the reticle, or if you're kind of off to the side a little bit. Because I could not hit the bottom shot for the life of me, and I was like, "What the heck?" I got the crosshairs right on the target. It's like 100 yards. It shouldn't be that hard. But I was canted a little bit, like I was just a little bit off looking through there. And what I equate it to is like looking through a peep sight and lining up with the sight housing on a bow, right? If your peep sight's over here a little bit and you try to line that up, it's not going to be quite right. So that was my biggest takeaway, because I
Were
just
you able
thought
to make the adjustment then?
yeah, once I figured it out.
Okay.
Actually, I didn't realize it. And one of the instructors was like, "Hey, you should make sure you're looking through it straight." And I was like, "I didn't know that mattered." But I guess it does.
You know, one other thing to piggyback off of that, for anybody that's buying an AR, get yourself a good optic on the top, and then put a red dot at a 45-degree offset. That, for like target acquisition at longer distances, is so incredibly helpful. Because like we did that shot at like 100 yards and tried to do it like fairly quickly. You know, you go up there, you have your gun looking through the red dot right away, and then shift right over to your main optic. So much faster, so much more efficient. Because like if you have to shoot quick, go with the red dot right away. You know, like if you're transitioning to a longer distance, start with the red dot, shift it over. Helps so much with target acquisition, and it just looks super cool.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Especially if you keep your scope on, like if it's a 1 to 8 or a 1 to 10 or whatever, if you keep it on like 5 or 6, it's kind of hard to find a target at 100 yards at even 5 or 6 power really fast.
Okay, so those are different powers.
Yeah, just like the zoom magnification,
Okay.
basically. Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. Just makes it quick, and it looks really cool.
yes, exactly.
Makes you feel good.
Are we at one-time zoom right now? No, just kidding.
I don't even. It's
Nothing.
Yeah,
We're not.
I
at
don't
Zoom.
even know.
Yeah. But no, I think it's great that like SCHEELS associates get to attend this every year and then bring that knowledge back to their stores to then educate the customers that are coming in. And so customers can feel really good knowing that, okay, the expert I go and talk to, they're going to know what I need. And then are the experts does our service shop do all the mounting if
Yeah.
they need something mounted?
Yep. And it
Okay.
just shows the partnership between SCHEELS and Leupold too. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like having a
yeah.
vendor that's willing to do something like that, willing to invest the time and the money and the effort into putting something on like this specifically for SCHEELS associates to get better.
Right.
That's really, really cool. And it does translate, because you go back to the store and you can see the sales differences and things like that, because like customers want to come in and get the right product. And just because SCHEELS associates went to the Leupold grad school doesn't mean all they're going to do is just like sell you Leupold, right? That just means they'll get you into the right product. If it's Leupold, great. If it's not, they'll find you what else you need. But like now within the Leupold lineup, they know where to put you. Like if you need a scope for a buffalo hunt in Africa, or if you're whitetail hunting where all you do is shoot 45 yards, like they know exactly where to put you now. It just shows a cool partnership between SCHEELS and Leupold.
Is there a lot of that tactical? Do a lot of people do tactical type shooting?
It's growing
Yeah.
exponentially.
That was the most I'd ever shot.
And that's
an
where
AR.
you're like, you said like you would lay down and then they would say,
Oh, that type of, yeah.
Is that-
like long range shooting,
yeah.
you mean? Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's,
Yep. Once again, also not very well versed in that, but that was super eye opening.
Both like the long range tactical and like just your AR stuff is rapidly growing in popularity.
Okay.
It's a lot of people grew up doing, SOCOM and Halo and all of those first person shooter games, and it's like, well, you can do that in real life too. So come check it out.
Yeah.
Had you ever shot ARs a whole lot, or was that the most you'd shot?
It's the most I've shot,
Yeah.
like in one period.
Yeah.
Like I own one, I shoot one, but bullets are expensive.
That's why I shoot bows. You can reuse arrows.
Yeah. Like, man, it's expensive to shoot that much.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Looking at the bucket of brass.
thank-
I know. I'm
Thank
like, how
you,
much is
Hornady.
that bucket worth? That was,
That's
you know,
just dollar signs in my
Gosh.
eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah.
Oh, and one thing I want to talk about too is the Hornady app. That was super cool. So yeah, shout out to Hornady on providing all the ammunition for all of this. But yeah, they had this ballistics calculator app. I think they called it like 4DOF, 4 degrees of freedom. And yeah, just you put in the input for like what gun you're shooting and what bullet you're shooting, the grains, and like that was like the recipe for making all of that just work super simple, super efficient. And
so
yeah.
how would that talk to it? So you'd put all that information in, and then it would tell you with your scope what you needed?
Yeah, it would
spits
tell
out
you. It would
numbers.
tell you where to dial
Okay.
for your height.
So that's the
Interesting.
opposite of having, like, what are the CDS styles I was talking about?
Yep.
Where the markings on those mean yardages, versus on what you would use the 4DOF for is if your scope, you just put it on right out of the package on your gun.
Sure.
You
Okay.
get all your ballistic numbers and things like that. And when you plug that in, it'll tell you, hey, if you're shooting 400 yards, you need to dial, 11 degrees or whatever, or something like that. I don't know. That's definitely not right for anything, because
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
Don't write those
Don't
numbers
write
down.
that. Don't
Yeah.
do that.
No.
I don't know where your bullet's going.
Go to Scheels, go to a gun expert. He'll give you a much better explanation
No.
than Solomon
Don't
did.
listen to the marketing guys.
You know. But do listen
We're
to
just
them.
talking about how
They've
cool
got-
it is.
they've got- yeah.
Not exactly all
We're the
nuts
highlight
and
reel
bolts.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, that's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, guys.
Yeah,
It was a fun experience.
absolutely.
Shout out to Leupold. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
So more content to come on that.
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, absolutely. We have, what did we shoot, like 500 gigabytes worth of content?
A lot.
For somebody that doesn't quite understand the whole gigabytes and content thing, like if you watched every video that we shot from like start to finish, it would take you like at least 6 hours to get through everything.
Okay.
Because I just put day one into a project in our editing software, and I've got like 2.5 hours to go through. So,
So you
and
can
that
start-
was like, and that was the day where we didn't even film a ton. So I'm gonna backtrack and say that we
Downhill
have
from
like
here.
12 hours worth
yeah.
of stuff to go through.
So you can like binge watch some
It is
Shields
kind of cool to like relive
Outdoors.
it almost though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, and then you guys are going to put together like the highlights of it all too. So
Yeah, exactly. We're going to put a YouTube video out.
Yeah.
We're going to put highlights on interviews that we did with a lot of the people at Leupold, experts talking about their experience, what they learned,
Cool.
just some funny random clips, all kinds of photos, a lot of good stuff there.
awesome.
And comment down below if you're a Mills or MOA, because this is a discussion that we need to have, because there's a right and a wrong answer, and there needs to be a definite answer. And comment on the Instagram, because it'll be on there too,
Yeah,
because we need to know.
and follow all the SCHEELS Outdoors social media.
Follow them all.
platforms.
Watch us online. Anything else? You
And
guys
go to
keep coming up with more
SCHEELS.com
here.
for all of your equipment needs.
Yes.
Yeah, shields.com.
Yeah, I'd say we covered the bases.
All right. Awesome.
Cool.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I want you to continue to share your experiences because you guys get to go to a lot of different cool Shields things.
It's awesome.
And I think our customers are interested. I know I find it fascinating, while I'm sitting in the office.
You find our
No,
ramblings
we-
no,
fascinating?
no.
We don't get to go to a ton of these. I
Right.
mean, the last time they let me into the wild was ice fishing university.
Sure.
So it had been a good like 4 or 5 months before they let me out of my office.
Yeah.
So it was nice to stretch the legs, though. I'll tell you
Right.
that.
Yeah. And just to give customers like a behind the scenes look too, and to listen to this about what they get to experience so they know, again, when they go in store and they're talking to someone, they know what they're talking about.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well,
Okay.
that's a wrap, I think.
Perfect. And with that, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the SCHEELS Outdoors podcast. Stay tuned for future segments and visit our social media pages, SCHEELS Outdoors on Facebook and Instagram for daily updates.